My friends, on July 16th of each year, we celebrate the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. But it's a much larger impact than just one day. It is, in a certain way, the anniversary and celebration of a Marian apparition that happened to St. Simon Stock, the Minister General of the Carmelites, back in 1251, and has become the day where we honor Our Lady and the great gift of the scapular. Now, of course, this is not in any sense simply on July 16th. It's the anniversary and the feast. But it's important that we understand the theology and the practice of the scapular because it's an extremely powerful and gifted message. Let's go back to the origins. St. Simon Stock is praying for challenges within the Carmelite order as its Minister General. Our Lady appears to him and promises that those who wear her scapular will be saved from eternal fire. That is, they'll have the graces necessary for salvation. And later commentators would further explain that this doesn't mean in itself relief from the possibility of temporal punishment in purgatory, but ultimately, Our Lady, as the mediatrix of all graces, is promising the graces necessary for salvation. Now, this is an extraordinary promise. And getting back to what a scapular is, coming from the Latin scapula, which means shoulder, and as most would know, that the brown scapular, or Carmelite scapular, is about an inch by inch piece of brown cloth connected by two strands that's worn over the shoulder. This is a symbol of Marian protection and a symbol of being open to Our Lady's intercession. Now, one could argue, how can a cloth connected with two strands affect one's eternal salvation? Well, we have to remember the principle of the Incarnation. God became man to save us. All of our sacraments have material signs. It's salvation in the concrete, if you will, in the sense that God, through Jesus, through Our Lady, seeks to make the faith as applicable and digestible and accessible as possible. So, we have the theology for the scapular really from the Second Vatican Council, Lumen Gentium number 62, where Our Lady is invoked as a mediatrix, and also the Vatican Council states that she, quote, intercedes for the gifts of eternal life. Well, that's exactly what the scapular promise is. So, if you can understand it in this scenario, here's the infinite graces of Jesus over here. Here's the need of human souls over here. And in between is Our Lady. She's the mediatrix of all graces. Her task is to get graces, the infinite graces of Jesus, to the human heart. And what does she need? What's required? She needs an opening. She needs an act of open heart or free will to allow those graces to flow. And so the scapular becomes a concrete expression of that. When one willfully and freely puts on the scapular, it's like saying to Our Lady, I'm constantly open to your graces. The Father has a very clear ground rule with grace. No one can be forced. And so here is a concrete image that one puts on themselves, saying to Our Lady, I'm always open. I always want the graces that you can bring me in uniting me to Jesus at the heart of the church. So it's a beautiful promise. It's a theologically sound promise. And I can't more highly recommend that people would wear the scapular. We certainly need Our Lady's protection today. We need the graces that she brings to us. Now, could some scoff at the scapular again and say, well, it's just a little piece of cloth? Yeah, that would be a misunderstanding of what the scapular signifies. It signifies a heavenly invitation by Our Lady to receive her graces. Now, we also must be free from any concept of the scapular as being magic or superstitious. What's the difference between grace and magic? Well, magic has the power of the object in itself, like a rabbit's foot, so alleged, which of course doesn't have such, but that's a concept. It's the potion that has the power. No, here the sacramental indicates Our Lady's intercession far beyond the piece of cloth, but it's a concrete reminder of that. It's legitimate, it's Catholic, it's beautiful. And so when we wear the scapular in faith, ideally, the scapular is an external sign of internal consecration. Now, that's ideally. Who could put on a scapular? And again, I want to say, any idea that one could purposely live a sinful life and will to offend God, but by simply putting a scapular on their body, that would indicate that they're going to have salvation, that would be a great misunderstanding of the scapular. The scapular is, again, a concrete sign of what's supposed to be in the heart. But who can wear the scapular? Someone that's consecrated? Of course, that's ideal. The scapular, ideally, is an external sign of internal consecration. But back to the question, who can wear a scapular? Anyone who is open to Our Lady's intercession. Anyone who says, I may not be Catholic, I may not be Christian, I may not even believe in God, I may not be sure, but I'm open to the intercession of Mary. That's what's required. That's the bare minimum that's required for wearing the scapular. Pius XII, in an encyclical in the 1950s, stated that many people, actually it was a radio broadcast, that many people owe their conversion and their final salvation to the scapular they were wearing. Well, that implies that they were not necessarily in grace. So the scapular has the power of conversion. That's why we have the sacramentals, and we take advantage of these promises of heaven to lead us to sanctity. If we were already perfect, we wouldn't need it. So, my friends, incorporate this promise. Wear the scapular. Have your children wear the scapular. Yes, ideally you want to be invested by a priest or a deacon. I do believe where that's not possible, that Our Lady still gives special graces and the privilege of the scapular. Put the scapular on. Parents, put that scapular on. That's the greatest witness to your children that this is important, that we want to be a constant yes to Our Lady's graces for us. We want to have something on our bodies. Satan hates sacramentals. We should, therefore, love sacramentals. We want that protection. We want it as a sign. And even if we're not yet fully consecrated, this is a process which allows us to get there. So, my friends, take advantage of the beauties of this devotion which the Church gives to us regarding the scapular. Allow us to receive as fully as possible the graces that heaven desires for us. This is Mark Miravalle saying thanks for being with us. God bless.